Resources. Anything which can be used by us from the environment to satisfy our needs, as long as it is technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, can be termed as resource. The process of transformation of things into a resource involves nature, technology, and institutions. Human beings themselves are essential components of resources. They transform material available in our environment into resources and use them. Classification of resources. These resources can be classified in the following ways. A. On the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic. B. On the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable. C. On the basis of ownership, individual, community, national and international. D. On the basis of status of development, potential, developed stock and reserves. On the basis of origin. Biotic resources. Those resources which are obtained from biosphere and have life, such as human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. Abiotic resources. Abiotic resources are those which are comprised of all non-living things, for example, rocks and metals. On the basis of exhaustibility. Renewable resources. The resources which can be renewed or reproduced are known as renewable or replenishable resources. For example, solar and wind energy, water, forests, and wildlife, etc. The renewable resources may further be divided into continuous or flow. Non-renewable resources. These are formed over a very long geological time. Example, minerals and fossil fuels. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources, like metals, are recyclable, and some, like fossil fuels, cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. On the basis of ownership. Individual resources. These resources are also owned privately by individuals, like in villages, people own land, and in urban areas, people own plots, houses, and other property. Example, plantations, pasture lands, ponds, water in wells, etc. Community-owned resources. These are resources which are accessible to all the members of the community. In the villages, grazing grounds, burial grounds, village ponds, etc., and public parks, picnic spots, playgrounds in urban areas are community-owned resources. National resources. Technically, all the resources belong to the nation. Urban development authorities get empowered by the government to acquire land for constructing roads, canals, railways, etc. Example: minerals, water resources, forests, wildlife, land within the political boundaries, and oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, 19.2 km from the coast, known as territorial water, and resources therein. International resources. Certain international institutions regulate some resources. The oceanic resources beyond 200 km of the exclusive economic zone belong to open ocean, and no individual country can utilize these without the concurrence of international institutions. For example, India has got the right to mine manganese nodules from the bed of the Indian Ocean, which lies beyond the economic zone, on the basis of the status of development. Potential resources. Potential resources are those which are found in a region but have not been utilized. For example, the western parts of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but so far these have not been developed properly. Developed resources. Resources which have been surveyed and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on technology, a level of their feasibility. Stock. Stock materials in the environment which have the potential to satisfy human needs, but due to lack of technology cannot be accessed. Example: hydrogen and oxygen present in water can be used as a rich source of energy. Reserves. Reserves refer to stock which can be used with the help of existing technical know-how, but their use has not been started. These can be used in the future. River water can be used to generate electric power, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. Thus, the water in the river is a reserve.